Hi, my name is Garrity, and I am a first year occupational therapy student at the University of Scranton. And I just watched the documentary called Alive Inside, and here's my reaction to it. So, watching it, I did take some notes. My general reaction and key moments that stood out to me. Um, so, first, I wanted to start off with the title. Alive Inside, I didn't really think much into it. I didn't really research the documentary before watching it. I kind of went in blind. I didn't really read the description. So the title just seems normal. Then, after watching it, I can make the deeper connection that it's more about the people and how music affects them. It's about how a person can go from looking lifeless and unmotivated and not wanting to participate in their daily living to listening to music and basically becoming alive inside, lighting up and wanting to participate and becoming a completely different person, which I think was very evident in the documentary, and I thought the title of the movie was very clever. So to start off the documentary, for the first 5 minutes I was very confused because it starts off with a woman who's being questioned about memories. So she's a 90-year-old woman who clearly has dementia, and she's asked about memories, and she can't put together a sentence about her memories from when she was younger, and she gets very emotional about it because she does suffer from dementia. And I feel like this is very evident in a lot of dementia patients, is because they feel so deeply that they can't remember, and they get so upset with themselves. So the interviewer, who we later learn is Dan Cohen, puts headphones on her and plays a song and tells her to take 2 minutes, and 2 minutes passes and she gets asked as to where the music took her to, and she responds that it took her back to her childhood and when she was in elementary school and she was playing in the schoolyard. And I just thought it was so interesting and unique that she went from not being able to remember her childhood to remembering her childhood just through the use of music. That one song connected her to her childhood, and listening to it again sparked something in her brain, and she was able to remember something that she couldn't remember 5 minutes ago and struggled, which I really thought was a good opener, as it provided context as to what the entire documentary was going to be about, and I thought it was very clever. And then it follows and it goes into like other patients. So another patient that stood out to me was Henry, who has dementia and was in the nursing home, and they interview his family, which I thought was very cool to see, like the family interconnected in this documentary and how what they have to say about their father being in the nursing home and their experience and how it has shaped them. But the therapist goes on, Henry's therapist goes and says that he has dementia and he is not independent. He needs help for his ADLs and IADLs. And when he's spoken to, he doesn't really like to talk or communicate, or if he does, he'll mumble or speak very softly that you can't really understand him. And when Dan Cohen went to the nursing home and put the headphones on him, it was something like a flip changed. A flip went off and he became full of life, alive inside, as the title would say. He started to sing and became happy and expressed himself, and they took the headphones off and he wanted to answer the questions that Dan Cohen had to ask him, and what the rest of the facility wanted to ask him, he was willing to answer, which I thought was very moving, as how he went from not wanting to participate to wanting to participate, which I think can play a major role in occupational therapy. The film continues to go on, and in 2016, it was 5 million people had dementia in the United States, and I'm sure that statistic has grown, which I think is very sad in the United States. But knowing that, yes, you start to lose your memories and you have a hard time, but then knowing that you have therapy such as music therapy can help you connect. Like, your brain is so uniquely wired that music connects with certain times of your life, and that just listening to that song can take you right back, I think can play a major role in healthcare. Um, and then the biggest story that stood out to me was Denise. Denise was someone that I personally connected with Denise. They talk about how she had severe depression disorder and how she also suffered from other disabilities. I don't remember what they were off the top of my head right now. But I related to her as to someone who has suffered from severe depression and how she was able to express her emotions so greatly, how she was able to express from being on top of the world to being on the ground hysterically crying or being so angry at someone, and being able to express the wide spread of emotions was just something I was able to personally connect her with. And then how just putting the headphones on changed her. I think she was upset at the moment, and she didn't really want to experiment with what Dan was trying to get all the residents to experiment with. But the second she put on the headphones, the flip switched, and she wanted to participate. She was on a walker, and she pushed her walker away because she just wanted to dance, because the music uplifted her mood and she became so happy and just wanted the music and felt her morale lift. And I think it was so evident as a watcher to see it straight through the screen. Even not being there, I felt it, like her presence, like the gray clouds like disappeared. And I just thought that was so moving as someone who has suffered from depression, that music does play a major role and it can influence you to have a better day and have a better morale and a greater mental health, which I think is very important moving forward into healthcare. And then they cycle back to her 6 months later towards the end of the film because she reaches out to them. And the one part that got me was Dan says that no one visits Denise, and that I actually started crying at that moment, because so many people go to nursing homes with disabilities because their families can't take care of them, but knowing their families don't come and visit them, or they just feel so alone and isolated. Just like at the start of the film, like there's a guy trying to find an escape out of the facility. Like I just feel like so many people feel so alone in nursing homes, and knowing that her family didn't visit her just made me so upset. Also knowing she has depression, it just really was very eye-lifting to me as to, like, as a future occupational therapist, like, you might be the only person that comes and visits your patients because their family might not come. And it just, to me, was very eye-opening as to I could have such a major impact on someone, because I could just be their only visitor they have in the day, and I might be the person they might be looking forward to coming because I'm a new face. And if I'm going 3 times a day to their rehab, 3 times a week to their rehab facility, they have something to look forward to because they know someone's coming to visit them. And I think that just puts into perspective as to I need to devote myself to my patients, because I'm going to have such an impact on them in ways that others may not. And I just thought that was very eye-opening to me. And then towards the end, they talked about Mary Lou, who struggled, lives with her husband. She doesn't live in a facility, but she's not independent. So her husband is basically her caregiver, and she has a deep love for her grandson. She loves hanging out with her grandson. But they pan to her, and she can't put the animal pieces where they belong. So she has a hard time grasping, has a hard time cognitively thinking as to where they have to go, and then the motor skills of moving and just thinking. But she's able to care and love for her grandson, which I thought also was very eye-opening to me, because just because they can't be independent doesn't mean that their love and wanting to be with someone like goes away. And I just thought that was very eye-opening to me, because yes, they might not be able to live independently, but that doesn't mean that they can't love and like spend quality time with someone else that they care about. And then they said that 56 homes were able to get the music, and I really hope that it changed and that it grew as to how many lives can be affected. And I think in the occupational therapy world, music therapy can be so important because it can allow our patients to participate in meaningful occupations, and it can influence them in such a positive way with allowing memories to come back. The music can boost their morale and mood, which will boost the engagement because they'll want to participate. And then with them wanting to participate, they'll be able to communicate and want to socialize with everyone, which I also think is awesome. And then the ways it can play a role in occupational therapy and how we can use it as occupational therapists. If we have a dementia patient and they have a hard time remembering and they feel so mad at themselves because they can't remember, you could play music to stimulate the memories. Or for motor, like we saw with Denise, it enhances them to want to get up and want to move and participate. So to walk, to move, to dance, it can enhance all of these motor skills. And then their mental health, because they are participating, because they are getting up, the music is boosting their moods, their mental health is going to increase, which I think is very important because as those with disabilities typically lead to lower mental health. So I think this can also play a major role. But thank you for watching. This is my reaction as first year occupational therapy student watching Alive Inside. And I hope that music therapy can be used to help all patients when it's needed. Okay, bye.